So if you're around college age, you've probably had that moment where you stopped and thought, why is dating in college so hard? Unless, of course, you've been in a long-term, stable relationship since high school, in which case I would like to say, one, we don't care, and two, we actually hate you for that. So watch yourself. But the point is, there's something very weird about dating in college. Like, we're old enough that we're actually like adults now, so it's not like high school, kind of very immature. But at the same time, there seems to be a disconnect. Something isn't working, something isn't clicking. The idea for this video actually popped up back in like February when I was having a 3 a.m. discussion with two of my straight guy friends. And one of them asked me, Glenn, what do girls want? Why is dating girls so hard? Because they assumed I had some like special insight on the matter. And I did what I could to help, but overall, I really didn't have that good of an idea myself. But I do know that everyone says that communication is the most important part of any relationship, be it romantic, platonic, or purely a business relationship. So I figured let's attack the root of the issue. Maybe there's something fundamentally that men and women are not communicating correctly about. And so, with the help of some friends, I came up with this survey. And the purpose of this experiment was to try to define ground level things, like very basic things about relationships that men and women see differently, even if they're using the exact same word. As you hear the questions, I think you'll get a better understanding, so I'm gonna stop trying to explain it. But before we get into the actual video, subscribe. I'm trying to make a ton of videos like this, diving into like social aspects, because I really like this. This video that you're seeing, I actually made a PowerPoint and like presented it to them like the next week. It was really fun. I just had the PowerPoint saved on my computer. I was like, oh, I should probably make a video with this because it is really interesting. Also, I'd like to brag a little bit. This survey, with the help of my friends, had over 350 participants today. Male and female between the ages of 18 and 24, because I really wanted to focus on that college age group. I did some fun investigation for this video, and it opened my eyes, and I'm pretty sure it'll open yours too. So keep watching, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. Okay, but let's actually dive into what this survey was and the results and everything. So the survey consisted of 7 questions, so all basic definitions about terms in relationships. Each participant knew the basic idea of the study that was about relationships, about defining things, but they didn't know the full extent of it. And as I said, the purpose of the survey was to find places where men and women think they're saying the same thing, but are actually thinking 2 different things. That's enough intro. Let's jump into these questions. Question 1 was to define the term hookup. Men defined it as someone that you have sex with once or twice. Women also defined it as someone that you have sex with once or twice. So both agreed pretty exactly on the definition. And it was nice. That was a good baseline starting point. However, that's the only place that they agreed on. Question 2 was to define friends with benefits. Men defined it as someone who can come over for casual sexual encounters, whereas women defined it as a friend that you can have casual sex with. Although both agreed that you are not dating someone who is a friend with benefits, there are some very interesting differences in their definition. But that's only question 2. Question 3, define short-term relationship. So this is where more percentages happen. About 80% of men defined a short-term relationship as a new dating relationship, 2 to 3 months. And then about 20% of men described it as someone that you are exclusive with, but you wouldn't put the term like boyfriend, girlfriend. You wouldn't say you're dating. It's maybe been a few weeks to a month. That's the definition of short-term relationship. For women, short-term relationship broke down to just dates, really. 15% said 2 to 3 months is a short-term relationship. 10% said 3 to 6 months is a short-term relationship. 75% said that under a year would qualify as a short-term relationship. So already, compared to like the high end of the guys that say a short-term relationship is 2 to 3 months versus the majority of girls that said that short-term relationship is anything under a year, that causes a lot of different expectations. Obviously, in a short-term relationship, there's a lot of different expectations than if you're in a long-term relationship. If a guy thinks that you're in a long-term relationship, because let's say it's been like 6 months, but the girl still feels that's a short-term relationship because it's been under a year, there's going to be a lot of conflict there, just again, based off of a simple definition of a word. Question 4, define a long-term relationship. Men define it as a serious exclusive dating relationship that has been going on for a significant amount of time. 10% said 2 to 3 months. 85% said anything over 6 months. 5% said over a year. Women defined it similarly, a serious exclusive dating relationship that's been going on for a significant amount of time. But for the length of time, 7% of women said 6 to 9 months is a long-term relationship. 15% of women said anything over 9 months is a long-term relationship. 78% said anything over a year is a long-term relationship. I want to reference back to what I said a minute ago, where if a guy, it's been like 6 months, he might think it's a long-term relationship, and a girl, it's under a year, so she might not. Again, proven by these statistics, guys, 85% of them think that something longer than 6 months is a long-term relationship, versus 78% of women would still, since it's under a year, consider that a short-term relationship, more showing the disconnect. Again, over the basic definition of a word, we aren't even getting to difficult stuff. Question 5, is sex necessary when seeing a friend with benefits? Like 99.99% of the men said yes, it would, like some sort of sexual encounter, preferably sex, would happen. From the men's side, there's an implication that if someone who they would define as a friend with benefits is coming over, some sort of sexual action will be happening. Women said no. 90% said that can happen on separate dates, so hanging out as friends and having sex. For example, they could have Chinese food with their friend with benefits on Tuesday and just have Chinese food, that's all. Like they just went out, had fun, whatever. And then on Thursday, they decided they actually want to have sex, so their friend with benefits comes over and they have sex and that's the end of it. They don't both have to happen on the same day. They're able to be friends with this person in a completely platonic sense, but then on a different day have sex with them and have it be more of a hookup style thing. And then 10% said they really don't want sex at all from a friend with benefits. They just want someone they can cuddle with or hang out with or be cute with, which obviously would explain a lot of sexual tension and confusion if the men expect that if they're hanging out with their friend with benefits, something's going to happen, and the women don't. Question 6, and here's where we run into a little bit of trouble. Would it be unusual for you to be friends with a person of your preferred sex and have it not develop into you having feelings for them? Overwhelmingly, men agree that would be unusual for them to be close friends with a girl and have them not start developing feelings for the girl. The only caveat that some brought up was that if the girl was dating a member of their friend group, then she's automatically off limits, and that helps. On the other hand, 100% of women disagreed. 85% said no, that they have a few close guy friends, and 15% said that all their friends are guys. At first glance, that looks like a contradiction. Guys saying that they aren't close friends with girls without developing into feelings, and girls saying that they are. It seems like it can't be happening until you remember this is miscommunication. One of the most popular tropes in like media for like, I don't know, the last however, is the best friend that's always been in love with the main character, whatever, but it's always been too shy to say it. Usually it's portrayed as like the shy girl who's always had a crush on the guy. That's because those movies are made from the male gaze, from the male perspective. It's usually the other way around. Now, this is something that I would love to dive into more in a different video, but I'll bring it up just because it's important here. There have been studies going on recently showing that male and female brains work very differently in this area, where women have the evolutionary ability to be friends and close friends with people, male and female, without it developing into feelings. Versus guys do not. That part of their brain has stopped working over like however long evolutionary. So when there's that contrast, it's literally because of a psychological and partially physiological difference between men and women, why women can see themselves as friends with guys and have it not be romantic or anything, and guys can't because of a literal difference in their brain chemistry. That's something that I'm not fully researched on, so I'm going to leave it at that for now, but I will hopefully dive into that more in a future video. So subscribe. I apologize, my roommate and his girlfriend are playing stuff, so you might hear them. You probably have already heard them. But anyways, the point of that is, again, massive miscommunication over basic definitions of things, realistically. Final question, question 7. If your dream guy or girl walked in and said that they wanted to have sex with you in the next 10 minutes, would you say yes? Now, this is assuming that it's not like a celebrity or anything. This is just someone who fits like your perfect like idea, at least physically, of what you'd want. You have no idea who they are, and also in this scenario, STDs and pregnancy are not really a concern. Men, 85% said yes, automatically, right here, right now. And the other 15% said they want to like shower or something first, do something really quick. Versus women on the other side, 60% said flat out no, that they wouldn't. And when questioned further, they responded that they wouldn't feel engaged because they didn't know the person at all. 10% said that if they had more time, then yes. And 30% said if they happened to be in the mood right in that second, then sure, they would. The purpose of this question was to address the fact that people think that guys are hornier than girls. I personally am of the belief that they are about the same level of horny. It just takes nothing to get a guy horny, and it takes actual like time and effort to make girls horny. So like it seems like guys are more horny because it takes and then they're up. There really isn't a difference. Obviously, this gets into a lot of issues of consent and being in the mood and being able to say no, especially when you might be a little bit not sober, a little bit don't be suspicious. But anyways, that's the survey. So what does this mean? One, obviously a huge lack of communication and a huge lack of understanding of very basic definitions. Like none of those questions were really like deep questions. Those are pretty surface level basic definition questions. And yet men and women answered them very significantly differently, except for like a basic hookup. Now, because of that, I decided to delve into some other things, and I found some more interesting things of miscommunication between males and females. So now I'm going to quote an article from The Atlantic. So, men and women universally agree that they want to be in a long-term relationship with someone who has a good sense of humor. However, how they defined a good sense of humor was very different. Men defined it as a woman who laughs at their jokes. A woman defined it as a man that they can share jokes with and mutually laugh. That dived into the age-old question, are women funny? One, this article found out that men are more likely to pick people who are attractive and unfunny over people who are attractive and funny. The article speculated that this is because we associate humor and funniness with intelligence, and the natural aversion to be with a woman who is objectively funny or funnier than them is deep-rooted in societal pressure and atelophobia. I wrote atelophobia in this PowerPoint, and I wanted to say it to sound impressive. I realized that is not a good word to use because it creates a barrier to entry. Atelophobia is the fear of not being good enough or not feeling like you're doing something right. This is one example, and there's going to be a second one coming up soon, of men creating a society that hurts other men and then getting mad that the society exists. Men create the idea that they are supposed to be funny and that women are unfunny. And so now future men later are mad when they are really not that funny and women are funny because the society taught us that men are supposed to be funny and women are not. And so when a man who really isn't that funny is directly hit with a woman who is objectively funnier than him, there's an aversion to it. It's an instant turnoff, it's an instant pushback. They would rather not be with someone like that because it challenges societal pressures and norms, things so ingrained to them that they don't even realize it's ingrained into them. The study also did this very interesting thing. I'm going to read directly from the article now. In a later experiment, Mix gave both male and female participants a list of random words such as beef jerky and water slide and asked them to write paragraphs using the words. Without prompting, the men wrote funny paragraphs. The women's paragraphs were more creative and better written, but they weren't funny. However, a surprising thing that happened when Meeks explicitly told the participants to try to be funny in their paragraphs, both genders used humor in an equal measure. As in hockey, it appears so in humor. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. The 2011 intelligence study similarly found that men wrote more captions overall, both funny and lame. In other words, men make more attempts at humor, so they are often successful more of the time. And that's a very interesting point because societally, women haven't had a pressure on them to be funny. So when someone just gives them a prompt like, oh, just do this, their first instinct isn't, it has to be funny. Their first instinct is it has to be creative and well done. Because as a society, we have put it on women that they have to do something perfectly, otherwise they won't get recognition. And realistically, even when they do it perfectly, they still get downplayed a lot. Versus men, a lot of pressure is just put on them to be funny. So unprompted, given these things, they're naturally going to try to be funny. Just a very interesting difference, a very basic thing, a good sense of humor. I know that was a little bit of an off-track side way of psychology sort of bit, but it was very interesting to me when I was first researching this topic, so I want to share it with you too. Anyways, moving on. Next, red herring that men think is very important and women really don't, dick size. In this PowerPoint that I'm currently looking at, I have a whole slide that shows the average dick size in several different countries. I know you really don't care, I will not show it to you. However, what is interesting is that the same study that was collecting all of these dick sizes also found that less than 12% of women say that dick size is very important, versus 41.5% of men saying that they are neutral or dissatisfied with their dick size. From the women's perspective, this connects back to what I said about immediately having sex. They want more of a connection. It won't mean as much to them even if they have a big dick because there's no emotional connection there. Same thing here, which is why they think dick size isn't as important because it's more the emotional connection that they're going for. And again, this is the second one that I mentioned about guys creating a society and then future guys suffering for it, but then those guys getting mad about it. Guys think that dick size is important because we have taught guys that dick size is important because we are viewing everything from a male perspective. So we, as men, have created a society where dick size is important. And so guys who are shortcoming or less than endowed feel as if they are lesser and that women don't like them because of their dick size, when in reality, if they actually communicated with women, they would realize that really isn't that big of an issue. So obviously, going way back to the game, when my friend was asking me, like, what do women want? I also came up with this, talking to several women, and based off of what I got from their responses, I confirmed it with about 20 of the people who took the survey to make sure that I got it right. And I would like to coin this term. I said I coined it back in February, but I guess I didn't put it out anywhere. I'm coining this term now. I'm calling this the Ariana Ruth Swift syndrome, or ARS syndrome. Because people who are 18 to 24ish now also fall into Zillennials. I made a whole video about Zillennials and why they're special. You can check it out. Anyways, this Ariana Ruth Swift syndrome is the effect that the music industry has had, specifically Ariana Grande, Megan Thee Stallion, whose middle name is Ruth, and then Taylor Swift. And their idea and their music captures and kind of promote it, since a lot of Zillennials grew up with specifically Ariana and Taylor, and then like Megan is kind of like a later thing. But their music kind of shaped the perspective of relationships for a lot of girls. And because of that, this is what women are chasing after. Very important here, this is what women are chasing after. Reading directly off the slide here, women are chasing after tragic love stories, daring romances, secret affairs, passion, being in control, being the boss, actually getting off, casual encounters, good, not special. So like destigmatizing sex, like it doesn't have to be a special person, it doesn't have to be the one, it doesn't have to be the love of your life, as we forced women to believe that they would be sluts if they weren't virgins, if they didn't save themselves. Instead, women are starting to identify with, it doesn't need to be the special, perfect person. I just want to actually fucking enjoy the experience. They want to be desired, to feel wanted. They want to feel special. And this is very important. They are chasing after events, ideas, and concepts. These don't have solid physical things. Like a tragic love story, like you could retell a tragic love story, but like it's subjective, like daring romance, secret passion, love affair, all those sort of things. They're concepts, they're ideas, they're events. They aren't something physical. They aren't something that has like a manifestation that you could cling to, which is why women would continue chasing after them, because they never truly have them, you know? But then I researched more. I created a list of what women want in a man. Not what they're chasing after, but what they actually want. Stability. Some examples of this would be like owning your own place, a steady, well-paying job, which like people think like, oh, you're a gold digger, stuff like that. Like, oh, you don't have to date a rich man, like you shouldn't put it on the man. Stop. This isn't me putting on the man. This isn't women putting on the man. It is in this society, honey, you better be dating someone that has money of their own. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Like, date someone who has a job. If they're a better paying job, then great. If they happen to have loads of money, good for you, girl. Get after it. Like, I know there's a lot of jokes, like, broke boys don't deserve no pussy. Like, it sounds like a joke, but it's really true. In this society, like, basically to survive, you have to have a 2-person income. But if you're going to have a family or anything like that. So let's not judge women for going after men with jobs. Okay? Next is self-reliance, things like cleanliness of like their apartment or their place wherever they live, good grooming habits, like, you know, using actual shampoo and conditioner and body wash, not 3-in-1, you know, actually using soap, wiping their ass, combing their hair, stuff like that, changing their sheets, cooking skills or similar talents like that, showing that they are perfectly able to get by on their own, like food-wise. That's not like all takeout or like Domino's or stuff like that. And then maturity, things like time management skills or specific goals and then plans on how to attain those goals. Communication skills, especially sexually, those things. And if you notice, I pointed this out in the PowerPoint, these are tangible things. You can tell that someone is pretty stable because you could see paychecks, okay? You can see their place. You can tell someone is cleanly or have good grooming habits because their place is fairly clean. Like, you can tell that they have good grooming habits because it's easily see. You can tell roughly that someone's mature because of time management skills. Like, you could see like how they lay out their life. Like, you can listen to their goals and like how they plan to reach them. You can see if they have communication skills really just by talking to them for like a significant amount of time. Like, traits that have physical manifestations that you can cling to. That's what women want in a man. And I want to like really quick at the end, throw away some common myths. 1, women want money. I already said this, but again, no, she wants someone with an income. 2, women want someone fit. This is an interesting one. I actually had to talk with a lot of my friends about this because I didn't even fully like grab this until they mentioned it. So here, women don't want someone necessarily fit. But if someone is fit and like muscular, whatever, that's proof that they take care of themselves. Like I said before, self-reliance. If someone is like, fit and it's not from like steroids or anything like that, that means that they are probably eating healthy, actually taking time to go to the gym. They probably have good grooming habits. So it's not that they want someone fit. It's just like people who are fit tend to overall be more self-reliant. And so it's a sign of what they do actually want. Women want something exciting. This is mostly true, but more specifically, women just want someone who's willing to go out of their way to do something special for them, to show them that they're thinking about them when like they didn't necessarily have to be thinking about them. Also, the idea that women are like a time burden. Women want all your time. No, women just want someone to share time with, to share experiences, opinions, conversations with. So yes, they want your time, but they aren't like trying to like consume you. Yeah, those are the common myths, and with that, that's my video. Sorry, I'm going to wrap this up quickly because I'm supposed to be hanging out with friends, and this video just took longer than I expected. So one, closing message, talk to your significant other, okay? If you're in a dating relationship or if you want to start dating people, actually talk to them. Define these very basic things because these are very surface level things. Talk about deeper things, actually talk, actually listen to what each other are saying. And as long as you're doing that, subscribe, comment down below. What part about this surprised you the most? Like what perspective shift did you have listening to this video? Because I had 7 perspective shifts just writing this out. Not writing this out, but when I first did the survey and everything. Share this video with any of your friends who need a perspective shift because follow me on all my social media. I'm amazing. I kind of want to go over this with Hannah in a podcast. I think that'd be really cool. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. Again, sorry for the quick wrap up. I think I said everything that I needed. I think I'm just gonna give you time to digest everything that I said. So, thanks for listening. I think that's all I need, guys. So let's have some fun and smile because hopefully this has revealed a few things to you and will help you improve relationships in the future.